My name is Aidan Karakoff, and I'm a trial lawyer at Saltzman, Galluzzi & Bendesky here in Philadelphia. I handle all kinds of catastrophic injury and medical malpractice cases, including workplace accident, explosion, trucking accident, and birth injury cases. The case involved a 33-year-old worker at a meatpacking plant, and he was on a meat cutting line where he and his co-workers were using knives to hack away at pieces of meat. His co-worker across the table lost control of his knife, which bounced across the table and struck our client in the neck. Ultimately, he bled into his lungs and bled out and died about 15 or 20 minutes after he was hit with the knife. Our client was the widow of the young man who died at the meatpacking plant, as well as their young daughter. The objective for the case was to identify two of the target defendants, the parent company of the meatpacking plant and one of the PPE, or personal protective equipment suppliers for the plant, and crystallize a theory of liability against those companies. We, our experts, and DK Global collaborated to put together an animation that we ultimately presented to the defense at mediation and that we would have presented at trial. The defense raised a couple of challenges to our case. The first, obviously, was that they argued, like defendants often do in these cases in Pennsylvania, that the parent company wasn't responsible and that the employer bore all responsibility. One of the other challenges that they raised was that this was basically a freak accident. And what we were able to show with the animation was that this was something that fell within the realm of the other similar incidents they had seen, that this was entirely predictable. We also were able to show what it actually would have looked like if this PPE was in place, and to come up with a very realistic and accurate portrayal of how this would have been prevented. In any significant case, we think visuals are an essential part of not only our pre-trial negotiations, but also at trial. Those animations can't have power unless we show them early on in the case, and that's always our goal. The defense's initial offer in the case before we presented our mediation package, which included the DK Global animation, was $0. We were able to finalize our animation and put together a compelling mediation memo. We were ultimately able to settle the case for $12 million. The experience in working with DK Global was phenomenal. We had an initial Zoom meeting with the team right away. We were able to talk about the theory, which they understood from the beginning, based on their substantial litigation experience in all sorts of cases, including workplace accident cases. We certainly believe that the demonstratives helped us resolve the case faster because it allowed what was on the written page from our mediation memo and the expert reports to play out on a screen. It also gives us an advantage over other lawyers who do not use animations, in that we present a quick, compelling case in our case in chief to the jury, and we're not relying just on what can sometimes be dry testimony from experts on the witness stand. The experience working with DK Global was excellent. We think they played a serious role in helping us achieve what was really a record-setting, significant recovery for our client.